Gross from the Bass Guitar Channel. Now, yesterday and the day before, we were talking about the half step, whole step, diminished scale. And I mentioned at one point that it's a symmetrical scale. Now, let me go through that first, and then we'll get on to the whole step, half step. So, a symmetrical scale means that all of the intervals are the same. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's go back to C major. So if we look at it, it goes whole step, half step. Then we have whole step, half step. Now, if it was symmetrical, it would go whole step, half step, whole step, half step. But it doesn't. So it's not a symmetrical scale. However, the half step, whole step, diminished scale does have symmetry. So let's take a look at this whole step, half step diminished scale. You have your root, C, you go up a whole step, which is D, a half step, which is E flat, then you go up a whole step, which is F, then you go up a half step, which is the F sharp, then you go a whole step, which is the G sharp, half step A, whole step B, and then the root again. Now, if we look at this as a chord, you still get the root, flat 3, flat 5, double flat 7. But the upper tensions, that's where it gets interesting. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. So that's what it sounds like. It sounds very similar to what we were doing yesterday and the day before because it's the same. Now, tomorrow we're going to talk about the upper tension because it's another chord. And then on Friday, we're going to wrap this up, and it's really going to be a very easy setup because there are only 3 diminished scales. So let's diagram this riff that I just came up with. We start with the so what I'm doing numerically is F sharp, which is a sharp 4. There's the 5. It's a 6 or a double flat 7. Major 7. So at this point, those are the notes I'm using. Flat 3. Now the second section, I start off with just the rhythmic on the root and the octave. Now, what I'm doing to add a little oomph to the riff is so it's very quickly. But it's still basically, but I'm just hammering from the open A to the C. And then I'm sort of repeating in a certain way the same riff up above, which is so it's the 4, sharp 4, sharp 5 for flat 6, 6. There you have that flat 3 again. And then at the end I'm doing, which is the major 7th. I'm throwing that major 7th in on a diminished chord. We'll talk more about that tomorrow because the major 7th is actually a part of the second chord. And then I've got that flat 3 up the octave, so it's flat 10, and then back to the root, the octave above. So that just about covers the whole step, half step for today. So practice this one, and also practice the other one again so you can hear the difference between the two. Tomorrow we'll add the upper tensions, And if you have any questions, go to my website, which is www.thebassguitarchannel.com, and leave me a comment, or on my Facebook page for that matter. All of these, as I said before, are on our YouTube page, The Bass Guitar Channel. So if you want to review anything, go back to that. In any event, I'll see you tomorrow with more of the whole step, half step diminished. My name's David Gross, and this is The Bass Guitar Channel. See you tomorrow.